Lee, first of all, let's just talk about you to start with, getting the job full time, and what does that mean to you then, having been someone who's been associated with the club for such a long time?
Yeah, a really proud moment for me and my family. Really honoured to be manager of the football club. I'm well aware that having been in a long association with the club doesn't guarantee you results, doesn't get you 3 points on a Saturday. But no, really honoured, really proud. I'll do everything I can to make this a success. And get everybody on board and get us all pulling in the right direction.
I suppose a big thing for this as well is your knowledge of the club, because Crewe do tend to appoint from inside. When you approach a game or you approach the role, how big a part does that play for someone who is the manager of Crewe to know intimately what the club's about and have the experiences you have?
Yeah, well, we align with each other in terms of how we want to play and how we want it to look. I have a knowledge of the younger players, which can only help. Having worked with them, but ultimately again that doesn't guarantee us anything. It'll be hard work, it'll be the dedication from the players and the staff every day, every weekend, Tuesday night, whenever it may be, to get results. That's what we want results. We want it done in a certain way, and we're working towards that, but having a knowledge of what the club want and what they expect can only help.
Was this ever something that when you were playing for Crewe or when you first came into the coaching setup that you ever thought was going to happen?
I always wanted to be a manager. I didn't really voice it for obvious reasons. You don't go around shouting you want to be a manager when you're under 18 manager, 21 manager at a football club. It's a little bit disrespectful to people above you. But I always wanted to be a manager. Always felt I could be a manager. Being manager of Crewe one day was definitely something I wanted to do, and I'm just delighted it's come around now. Obviously it's a bit bittersweet with the way I've ended up doing it, but no, I'm delighted, and it's definitely a path I wanted to go down.
Just to focus on some of the stuff that's actually going on with the current team that obviously is now your full-time job. The first one, I think Khanya Leshabela, not involved in the squad, I don't think, the other day. He hasn't had a lot of game time. What's the latest with him? What's the plan?
No, Kenya's not had a lot of game time. He's probably had less than he hoped. I have to pick a squad for the match day. He played well yesterday for the under-21, so he'll be back in the reckoning to be in the squad on Saturday. I was pleased with his performance and his attitude in the game, along with some others. So he's just in the reckoning, fighting for a place in the squad.
Are you prepared for him, Lachlan Brook, Arthur Okonkwo? They all get reviewed in January, don't they? Loans like that from bigger clubs. So are you prepared for do you have contingencies in place if they all of a sudden turn around and say, well, we want them back? Well,
we're making plans for both scenarios. The two you've just mentioned, their loans do actually run out in January, so we've got discussions with their clubs, discussions with the players, but we're making plans behind the scenes in terms of if they're going to stay, if they're not going to be with us, but we're hopeful them discussions can develop quite quickly and we can come to a conclusion with that.
You've already got your eye, I suppose, on players that you're thinking could improve you in January as well, and I suppose does that help now with you being the permanent manager that you can plan more long term?
Yeah, well, we've last couple of weeks we've started to really heat that up. Again, there'll be certain factors determining what we can bring in, what we can't bring in. But we're definitely looking. We're out there looking. Spoke to a few agents already. To the type of player we want, type of character we want in the building. So that process is ongoing.
You've got to be a bit more ruthless now as well. That's part of the job of being a manager, isn't it? You've got to try and think what's best, not just for the player, not just for everybody, but for the club as well. Have you got to be a little bit ruthless when it comes to making those decisions?
If you call it ruthless, I call it just being honest with people. If you feel like they're not going to get any game time at your football club, be honest with them, tell them. Let them try and kick on with their careers if it's not going to be at the football club, if they have to get a loan away from here. So it's just about being honest. Ruthless is where you cut them off completely and take them out of training. I won't be doing that, there's no need for that. But it's just about being honest with people and where they stand within the group.
How difficult is a January transfer window? I know your context is it's the first one for you, but you hear people say it's much harder than a summer, or it's much harder than any other time when you're trying to get loans in outside of that. So from your perspective now, tackling it for the first time, what is it like?
It can be difficult. I don't want to go beating the drum down that route. It's difficult. What we're finding is the type of player we want, it's hard to come by. And obviously managers, if it's in this division, particularly don't want to let them go to another club, higher up, more wages. So yeah, it is difficult because the type of player we want, we're setting the bar high. So yeah, it can be difficult. It has been difficult. As I say difficult, it's a lot of talking and come back to us in a couple of weeks if he's not had any games and all that type of stuff. But we won't dwell on it. If we don't get what we're after, we'll quickly move on. We'll have people in place to move on to.
Within the squad itself, Connor Evans has been out at Marine, but scored, I think, for the under-23s the other day. What's the future hold for him? Have you got a more short-term plan in mind for him? Well,
we've had a good review back from Connor. Marine picked up when he was there, got up the league, managed to score a couple of goals. He'll be in contention for Saturday. We're very low on goal-scoring options, forwards. He's the only other one in the football club. So we're going to have to give that some close consideration. He'll be in our thoughts definitely to be in the squad on Saturday.
And at the other end of the pitch, you're missing your captain as well, Luke Offord. How big a miss is that, given how well he's played this year?
Yeah, he's been outstanding, hasn't he? And I credit also the other players that have been around him. They've really helped him. They've been equally as good. But he's our captain. He's a leader. And like I say, he's been really good. So we're disappointed for missing from one game. But that was going to happen at some point because we wanted him to be aggressive. We wanted him to be the Luke Offord of old, and he has been. And with that comes these situations. Don't want it all the time, but with that, it happens.
That's the trade-off, isn't it? You want a player to be more aggressive, you want a player to be first into the tackle. He's inevitably going to pick up bookings.
Yeah, he is, especially in the area of the pitch he plays as well. It won't just be at our football club, it'll be all over the place. So, no, he's been excellent. He's carrying 1 or 2 knocks as well, so it might just give him a little bit of time. We give him a couple of extra days off this week because he needs it. He's played every minute of every game he's been available. So it comes hand in hand. We get him to have a little rest. Yes, we want him in the team on Saturday, but it gives him a little bit of time to recoup.
League leaders as well on Saturday as well. They only get tougher this management lot, don't they?
Yeah, it don't come much tougher than that, does it? But no, you've got to embrace them. We're at home. We want to put on a better showing than we did in the second half against Newport. It's going to be tough. There's going to be times when we're not going to have a lot of the football. So we're going to have a good game plan in place, be patient at times, but also be aggressive and have more intent to score goals.
And lastly, nominated for Manager of the Month as well. I mean, you've only been in the job a month and you've been nominated for Manager of the Month. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, well, I'm going for a pay rise tomorrow. So, no, I didn't realise until you said. Again, it's just credit to the players. The players have been absolutely excellent, the staff. It's the players that produce the moments on Saturdays, Tuesdays, so full credit to them. They're a great group to work with, a real credit to the football club at the minute in terms of their application. So no, delighted for the players more than anything.